My world was supposed to be filled with the scent of ink from my father's design studio, attire lumiere, the soft sunlight streaming through the windows, and the warm smiles of employees working with passion. Lucy, this merger is the best decision for both of us and for both companies. Why can't you see that? The air in the conference room turned tense. Across from me, my fiancé, Jeff Owen, tapped the table with his fingers, his frustration thinly veiled. He was the heir to Apex Corporation, one of the country's leading conglomerates. His chiseled features belied the cold ambition gleaming in his eyes. The best decision? Jeff, that's for Apex's benefit, right? My company is the dream my father built from nothing. Our employees are like family. I won't let you use them to patch up your failing business. You make it sound so bad. I'm telling you, this is a strategic partnership. There was a patronizing edge to his voice. Ever since my father passed away 2 years ago and I took over as CEO, Jeff's attitude had begun to shift. The man who once praised my talent and stood by me now viewed my work as just another pawn in his grand scheme. My father's words, spoken in a raspy voice as he held my hand on his deathbed, echoed in my mind. Lucy, Jeff is too ambitious. There's a hunger in his eyes that can't be satisfied. Love can give us strength, but it can also blind us. Never lose yourself, no matter what. Back then, blinded by love, I dismissed his warning as old-fashioned worry. How foolish I was. This discussion is over. Atelier Lumiere will remain independent. That's my decision and my father's wish. When I said it firmly, Jeff fell eerily quiet, then exhaled with a soft laugh. Fine. If that's how you feel, we'll take a break. Cool off a little. His sudden calm sent a chill down my spine. That night, when I got home, my younger sister Alyssa was waiting for me in the living room. She had always been a dreamy girl, drawn to anything sparkly. I knew she carried complicated feelings toward me, the ever-perfect big sister. Welcome back, Lucy. Look at this. She held up her phone, showing a tropical resort photo. Jeff said you've been working too hard lately. You've got that important design competition in Italy next week, right? He thought you should unwind a little before then, so he arranged everything. An overseas trip? That's sudden. But it's such a big opportunity. Your designs are amazing. You're definitely going to win. Alyssa's innocent smile and Jeff's unexpected kindness had all made me uneasy. Something unseen lurked behind their gestures. Still, this competition could be a turning point for the company. Saying no wasn't an option. Thanks, Alyssa. I'll think about it. In the end, I accepted their so-called kindness and flew to Italy. I threw myself into the competition, shaking off my unease, and won the grand prize. Exhausted, yes, but my heart was full of pride. Surely now, Jeff would stop talking about mergers. This was a huge step toward protecting the company. But the moment I opened the door to my apartment upon returning home, I sensed something was off. The air was filled with a sweet vanilla scent I didn't recognize. Alyssa's perfume? Confused, I walked to my bedroom and opened the closet and froze. The wedding dress I had made from my late mother's lace preserved was missing. My heart pounded violently. What's going on? My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was Sandra, my best friend and a brilliant lawyer, one of the few people I trusted completely. Sandra? What's wrong? I could even hear the tremor in my voice. Lucy, listen carefully. You need to have a seat. Sandra's overly calm tone only heightened my fear. She only sounded like this when something was seriously wrong. Alyssa and Jeff got married yesterday. For a moment, I couldn't process the words. They echoed emptily in my mind. What are you talking about? In your wedding dress. That one sentence shattered my reality. A cold, heavy sickness rose from my gut. Check Instagram. It's all there. Looks like they planned it the moment you left for your trip. I'm sorry, I should have seen it coming sooner. Her voice faded. I ended the call without a word and opened Instagram with shaking fingers. There it was. A nightmare came to life. Alyssa, wearing my wedding dress, clinging to Jeff with a radiant smile. A luxurious chapel, an extravagant reception, laughter among friends. Dozens of photos pierced me like knives, flooding my timeline. And the most recent post from Alyssa's account. A photo of the two of them, captioned, "The moment we realized it was fate. Sorry, Lucy. But sometimes love and business don't wait." Love and business? In that instant, everything clicked into place. The trip. Alyssa's suggestion. Jeff's sudden warmth. That single word, business. Their goal was never just to steal my fiancé. Their goal was to push me out. It wasn't just about stealing my fiancé. To take Attire Lumiere, my father's legacy, my soul. A dry laugh escaped my throat. Sadness, rage replaced by a cold, absolute stillness. They had no idea what was coming. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was Kevin, the loyal head of accounting who had supported the company since my father's era. A red icon flashed on the screen, urgent. "We have a problem. Jeff is demanding an emergency shareholders meeting, citing your absence. The agenda, dismissal of current CEO and full merger with Apex Corporation." Of course. I let out a slow breath and typed my reply. "Kevin, stay calm. Everything is under control. Our counterattack starts now. I am no longer the powerless woman who can only cry. I will protect the company my father built and the people within it. If I must become a devil to do so, then so be it." I redialed Sandra's number. "Sandra, it's me. I don't have time to cry. This is war." I've been waiting to hear that voice. Where do we start? First, hire the best IT investigator out there. I want someone who used to be a hacker, someone who knows how the underground works. I need access to Jeff's laptop, phone, company servers, everything. Trace the money. Track the women. I don't care how much it costs. Got it. I know someone who fits the bill. What's next? The marriage. Between Alyssa and Jeff. They must have filed the paperwork by now. But there's a chance it can be invalidated. What do you mean? Legally, Jeff was still my fiancé. Marrying someone else while engaged might not qualify as bigamy, but it is a civil offense. Grounds for a substantial damages claim. Plus. I paused and stared out at the dark sky. Their real target is my company. They'll throw everything they've got at me: social media slander, pressure on our partners, but I'll turn every move against them. Lucy, you're different. Like someone else entirely. That's right. The kind-hearted Lucy Brown died yesterday. What's left is my father's daughter. A CEO ready to fight. After hanging up, I headed to my study. From the back of the safe, I retrieved an old leather-bound journal and a black USB drive secured with a heavily encrypted password, both left to me by my father. In his journal, he had written, "The Owen family's methods are reckless and dangerous. They've never built, they've consumed and destroyed. Jeff carries that legacy in his blood. If anything happens to me, I can only hope Lucy sees him for what he truly is. The final trump card is on this USB." The final trump card. I gripped the USB tightly. I didn't have the password yet, but I would find it. Jeff, Alyssa, you started this game. I'll be the one to finish it. No rules, no mercy. The next morning, the world turned its fangs on me. When I opened my phone, my face was plastered across the top of every news site. Breaking: rising star designer Lucy Brown accused of embezzling company funds and fleeing abroad. Sources say jealousy over sister's marriage to her fiancé drove the act. Sources? I tapped the article. A video began to play. Alyssa, crying as she gave an emotional interview. My sister, she's always been the type who had to have whatever she wanted. When she found out Jeff and I had feelings for each other, she forced herself between us. I guess the company was struggling too, but I never imagined she'd steal from it. I just can't believe it. An award-worthy performance. Teary-eyed, fragile, the picture of a tragic heroine. And next to her, Jeff was holding her gently like a wounded dove. The comment section was a flood of vitriol. What a disgrace. Homewrecker. She let success go to her head. At the same time, the company phones wouldn't stop ringing. Partnerships terminated, banks revisiting our loans, panicked employees demanding answers. Is this true? What's going to happen to us? Jeff's assault was brutal, swift, and precise. He wasn't just trying to humiliate me, he was trying to annihilate me. Everything I'd built. Everything my father had entrusted to me. It was all falling apart. That afternoon, I sat alone in my office, staring at my father's portrait. The sky outside was thick with dark, churning clouds. Maybe this really was the end. Dad, I'm sorry. I couldn't protect your company. At the very moment, despair wrapped around my heart like a chilling mist. There was a gentle knock at the door. It's Kevin. I opened it to find Kevin, our veteran head of accounting, standing with concern etched across his face. In his hands was a thick file. Please don't carry this alone. We believe in you just like we believed in your dad. Kevin. These lies, they won't stand. And more importantly, take a look at this. He opened the file. Inside were detailed accounting records, meticulously organized. Several pages were marked with red tabs. Jeff signed multiple shady consulting contracts over the past month, totaling about $500,000. But the firms he's dealing with? Paper companies? No real operations. And where the money's going? He pointed at a document, a list of private investors currently buying up Attire Lumiere stock. I looked into them. All of them are Jeff's old college friends or Shell employees from Apex. He's using our company's money to secretly buy out our own shares. He's embezzling our funds to steal our company? Yes, and at this rate he'll have majority control by next week's emergency shareholders meeting. A rush of blood thundered in my ears. Jeff was using my company's money to launch a hostile takeover. Kevin, thank you. This is exactly the evidence we need. We're with you until the end. That's a promise I made to your dad. His steady words reignited a fire inside me. I wasn't alone. That night, Sandra called. Lucy, that investigator you asked for? He's incredible. Code name Zero, former white hat hacker. There's nothing in the digital world he can't find. Can he start immediately? He already has. He's inside Apex Corporation's servers as we speak. And he's found something juicy. Sandra sent over an image through a secure, encrypted app. It was an internal Apex document, confidential financial data. Look at this. The Owen family is drowning. Years of reckless investments. Massive debt. The banks are cutting them off. This is why they want Attire Lumiere so badly. Your company's clean assets and high credit rating? They're desperate for it. So that's why they push so hard. Exactly. And here's the real bomb. Zero had sent over another file, an audio recording. Secretly captured. Apex board meeting. Jeff's voice. The Lumiere acquisition is proceeding on schedule. Lucy's probably still dreaming in Italy. By the time she returns, she'll have no place left to come back to. His dad's voice. Don't mess this up, Jeff. That company is our last lifeline. Do you have any idea how hard it was to remove Lucy's father, that stubborn old man? Jeff's voice. I know, Dad. He conveniently dropped dead from overwork. His daughter will follow the same fate if she resists, that is. I stopped breathing. My father's death wasn't just exhaustion. They planned it? Sandra, this. Yes, this isn't just a hostile takeover anymore. This is a crime. We should call the police. Wait! I cut her off, my voice trembling. Not yet. If we want to destroy them completely, socially and legally, we need something bigger. And we need to save Alyssa. Alyssa? Lucy, she betrayed you. No, she's a victim too. That recording proves it. Jeff will toss her aside the moment she's no longer useful. She's being used, I have to wake her up. From that day on, my counterattack began in earnest, quiet, but relentless. Through Sandra, I tried to reach Alyssa. But if I approached her directly, she'd only shut down. So instead, I went through the one person she might still trust, her best friend, Kelly. Sandra met with Kelly and, under the condition of anonymity, began feeding her bits of information warning her of Jeff's true nature. Your friend is in danger. If this goes on, she'll be left to take the fall and possibly end up in prison. At first, Kelly was skeptical, but when she saw the evidence, Apex Corporation's crumbling financials, Jeff's long history of manipulation and womanizing her, expression changed. At the same time, Kevin and I worked to unify our team. I gathered all the employees and told them everything, every lie, every attack, every threat Jeff had made against us. The employees, once shaken by the rumors, quietly listened as they began to understand the truth. I'm sorry for the fear and confusion. But I will not give in. I will protect this company, the dream my father built, and the workplace you've all fought for. Please stand with me. A young designer stood up. We love working here. We're proud of what Atelier Lumiere stands for. Please let us fight with you until the very end. One by one, voices joined in, we're with you. I held back the tears that threatened to fall. I was surrounded by such warm, unwavering support. Meanwhile, Zero's investigation uncovered something deeper, an offshore account in Alyssa's name, secretly set up by Jeff. And when he followed the money trail, he made a shocking discovery. Lucy, this is big. Jeff didn't just stash the embezzled funds, he funneled some of it into another account. Another account. Yeah, a Swiss private bank. And the money's being used to hire industrial spies. Zero sent over chat logs, conversations between Jeff and a man known in the underground for stealing corporate secrets. Jeff, did you get the blueprints for Atelier Lumiere's upcoming project? Spy, delivered. The data's encrypted and sent. But Lucy Brown's tough. Her computer security is insane. Jeff, doesn't matter. After next week's shareholder meeting, it's over. No matter what she does, it'll be too late. They had stolen the unreleased designs, our future. One piece after another fell into place: embezzlement, betrayal of trust, data theft, and the truth behind my father's death. All that remained was the final piece, the black USB my father left behind. I spent hours every day trying every password I could think of. My father's birthday, my mother's death, the company's founding date. Every time, the same message: access denied. Dad, what were you trying to tell me? I reread his journal over and over, but found nothing. The emergency shareholders meeting was just 3 days away. Then, through Sandra, a message came from Kelly. Lucy, something's wrong with Alyssa. She looks scared whenever Jeff is around. I saw her crying and refusing to sign some documents. Today she told me she found a bank statement from an overseas account, and she swears she doesn't know anything about it. There was no doubt. Jeff was preparing to frame her to pin the crimes on her and walk away clean. Sandra, we need to get Alyssa out of there. Now, work with Kelly. Get her to a safe place. Before Jeff finds out. Got it. But will she listen? Play her the audio recording. Let her hear Jeff and his father talking about what they did to my dad. That'll wake her up. I sent Sandra the recording, the one where Jeff and his father spoke so casually about orchestrating my father's death. It had to be the shock Alyssa needed. The day before the shareholder meeting. I sat alone in my office, flipping through my father's journal. We had enough evidence to bury Jeff legally and socially. But I knew, the real truth, what my father really wanted me to know, was inside that USB. Then, I noticed something I'd missed. On the very last page, a faint ink stain, like a tear, and in the corner, barely legible in delicate fountain pen, were the words. The day you gave me that sketch, your first drawing of me, I'll never forget it. A treasure forever. 1998-05-16. May 16, 1998. My 6th birthday. The day I gave my dad his first crayon portrait, his smiling face, drawn with love. No, could it be? Hands trembling, I inserted the USB again. Typed 19980516. Pressed enter. Click. The screen lit up. Access granted. One video file, titled, "To my beloved daughter, Lucy." I held my breath and clicked on the file. On screen appeared my father, thinner than I remembered, but smiling gently. "Lucy, if you're watching this, it means something happened to me. And you're now fighting alone to uncover the truth." His soft voice filled the room. "Let me be direct. Jeff Owen is our enemy. He stole my company's technology, poached my staff, and mentally cornered me. All of it calculated moves to take Atelier Lumiere legally. I resisted, but I may be nearing my limit." My father paused, then coughed weakly, clearly struggling. "But Lucy, don't let revenge consume you. True strength doesn't lie in destruction, it lies in protecting, nurturing. You have that power. This video is my final gift to help you do just that." He then held up a document to the camera. "This is a confidential contract between the founder of Apex Corporation, Jeff's grandfather, and myself. In exchange for my technical contributions, the Owen family agreed to ensure Atelier Lumiere's permanent independence, and to never pursue a hostile takeover. If they violate this agreement, all rights Apex holds concerning Atelier Lumiere become void." It was the ultimate reversal. The ace in the hole. Our family's final trump card. "Lucy, I hope you find happiness. Live strong." The video ended. I sat frozen. Tears streamed silently down my cheeks, falling onto the keyboard. "Thank you, Dad. I'll fight. Just like you taught me to protect what matters." I stood up and looked out at the night skyline. The air felt like the stillness before a storm. "Jeff Owen, your party's over. Tomorrow's shareholder meeting will be your execution." The hotel hall hosting the emergency shareholder meeting was thick with tension. Whispers of worry buzzed from board members and shareholders. Cameras flashed nonstop. At the center of it all stood Jeff Owen, puffed up like a conquering hero. Next to him was his father, the chairman, looking visibly shaken. But Alyssa was nowhere to be seen. Jeff's face briefly flickered with unease before he plastered on a smug smile. From the back of the room, Sandra and I watched in silence. I wore a sharp black suit. A few shareholders turned and shot me contemptuous looks, but I barely felt them. We now call to order this emergency shareholder meeting for Attire Lumiere. The chairman's voice silenced the room. Jeff stepped forward and theatrically cleared his throat. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for gathering here today. As the largest shareholder and as Lucy Brown's former fiancé, deeply regret the circumstances that have brought us here. He looked around, feigning pain. After she embezzled funds and vanished, Attire Lumiere stands at a crossroads. In response, I have made a difficult decision. I propose that Apex Corporation absorb and rebuild this historic company. And as a first step, I formally submit a motion to dismiss Lucy Brown as CEO. Jeff's voice rang out across the hall. His loyal shareholders responded with eager applause, as if they'd been waiting for this moment. Just as the chairman prepared to call the vote. Objection. My clear, unwavering voice cut through the tension in the room like a blade. All eyes turned to me. Sandra and I walked slowly down the center aisle, as if down a warpath lined with shareholders. Jeff's face contorted with shock and rage. Lucy, how the hell are you? This is my company's shareholder meeting. Why wouldn't I be here? I ignored him and stepped to the mic, addressing everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Lucy Brown. Thank you all for entertaining this circus. But the performance ends here. Now, it's time for the truth. Sandra activated the presentation. First, let's address Mr. Owen's claim to be the majority shareholder. That claim is under serious dispute. The screen lit up with transaction records that Kevin had uncovered: paper companies, fake consulting contracts, and secret stock purchases by Jeff's associates. Jeff Owen embezzled over $500,000 from our company to secretly purchase shares under the names of dummy entities. This constitutes both breach of fiduciary duty and criminal embezzlement under corporate law. The room erupted in gasps. Jeff's face turned crimson. Lies. There's no proof. Oh, but there is. At that moment, a crisp voice echoed from the speakers. My name is Mike, and I serve as Apex Corporation's external auditor. I'm joining remotely today. The screen changed to show Mike's face calm, professional. I saw the chairman, Jeff's father, stiffen. My audit confirms that Jeff Owen withdrew over $5 million inappropriately from Apex over the past 3 years, transferring it to personal accounts. Part of that sum was used to acquire Attire Lumiere shares. He projected confidential financial records onto the screen. The money trail was undeniable. Jeff, cornered, made a final desperate move. That wasn't me. Alyssa. It was all Alyssa's idea. She manipulated me, it was all her doing. Pathetic. But that's exactly what I was waiting for. Alyssa, you say? At my signal, the doors of the hall swung open, and Alyssa entered, accompanied by Sandra. Her eyes were still clouded with fear, but her steps held a faint glimmer of resolve. Sandra spoke firmly. Ms. Alyssa Brown is now our client. She is currently preparing criminal charges against Jeff Owen for coercion and fraud. What? Jeff was stunned. He turned and glared at Alyssa, but she didn't flinch. Jeff, I can't keep lying for you. Lucy, I'm so sorry. And then, the final blow. But Jeff Owen's crimes don't end there. I cued the audio file Zero had recovered. Jeff, did you get the blueprints for Attire Lumiere's upcoming project? Spy, delivered. The audio clip proving Jeff's collusion with the industrial spy echoed through the hall. The whispers among the shareholders turned to outrage. Chairman Owen turned ghostly pale, nearly collapsing on the spot. Jeff Owen, you're a fraud, a thief, and an embezzler. I looked down at him in complete silence and spoke quietly. There is no need to vote on his dismissal. because, as of now, he is no longer even a legitimate shareholder of this company. Shares acquired through criminal profit hold no voting rights. I turned to face the entire room. Ladies and gentlemen, I will rebuild Attire Lumiere. And I promise you, it will be stronger, bolder, and more creative than ever before. In response to my powerful declaration, the room erupted this time with genuine, thunderous applause. One by one, I read the names of the board members who had supported Jeff and submitted motions for their removal. Every one of them passed unanimously. The battle was over. Victory was ours. As I stepped down from the podium, uniformed officers waiting at the entrance began to approach Jeff in silence. "Mr. Jeff Owen, we'd like you to come with us for questioning." He looked too defeated to resist. As he was escorted out, he turned back, his eyes hollow, and whispered in my ear. "Don't think you've won, Lucy. If you bring me down, the truth about your father's death will come out. You think I killed him? That deal he made with me, it's what broke him." A sharp jolt shot through my chest. But I didn't flinch. I leaned in and whispered back. "I know. But Jeff, you still haven't seen my real trump card." For the first time, true fear flashed across his face. The battlefield masquerading as a shareholder meeting was over. Silence remained in its place. Jeff was taken into custody, charged with multiple offenses. Chairman Owen also faced serious legal scrutiny for his involvement and attempts to cover up his son's crimes. The media turned on a dime, their headlines now proclaiming, "The Phoenix returns, tragic heroine triumphs. Genius designer topples corporate evil." But my battle wasn't over yet. Jeff's final words, "Your father's death is partly your fault too," clung to me like a curse, a thorn lodged deep in my heart. That night, in the CEO's office, I played the video my father had left behind this time. In front of the prosecutor assigned to the case, and the Owen family's legal representative. Sandra and Mike stood beside me, tense and silent. My father appeared on screen. Calm, gaunt, but determined. He spoke of the pressure from Jeff, of stolen technology, of the psychological torment. And finally, he revealed the confidential agreement, the one that guaranteed Attire Lumiere's independence. If Apex Corporation violates this agreement, they forfeit all rights and claims to Attire Lumiere. The moment the video ended, the Owen family's lawyer wiped the sweat from his brow and looked up at the ceiling. This wasn't just a contract, it was a death sentence for Apex Corporation. Every action they had taken against Attire Lumiere now constituted a breach of contract, making them liable to repay all unlawfully obtained licensing fees and profits retroactively. For the already crumbling Owen Corporation, it was the final, fatal blow. The prosecutor turned to me. "Ms. Brown, this video will serve as critical evidence of Jeff Owen's malicious intent. His charges will no longer be considered financial crimes alone. Even in death, my father had protected me, protected us." Weeks later, Alyssa visited my office. Gone were the glamorous clothes. She now wore a plain suit and carried herself with a quiet seriousness. "Lucy." She apologized deeply. "I'm truly sorry. I couldn't see anything clearly. Jeff's sweet words and my jealousy toward you. I lost myself." I said nothing, just watched her. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But I want to spend the rest of my life atoning for what I've done. Sandra's taken me on as an apprentice at her firm. I want to help people like me, people who were tricked and hurt." Her eyes held no doubt. She was beginning to walk her own path. "Alyssa," I finally said softly, "your life is just beginning. Make it count." "Thank you, Lucy." I watched her leave the office with quiet dignity. Maybe, just maybe, the twisted bond between us had begun to mend through this long, painful war. As predicted, Jeff received a heavy sentence. Embezzlement, breach of fiduciary duty, data theft, destruction of evidence, and indirect involvement in my father's death. 15 years. He screamed in court, "I'm the victim here." But no one listened. Even his former allies and father abandoned him. Alone in prison, he would face the weight of his sins. Apex Corporation effectively collapsed. The secret contract triggered a massive damages suit. The once mighty empire crumbled like a castle of sand. Chairman Owen resigned. The Owen family name was disgraced beyond repair. Ironically, Mike, the very man who had helped expose their crimes, was appointed to oversee the company's liquidation. He handled it professionally, with no personal bias. That was just who he was. Atelier Lumiere made a miraculous comeback. The scandal, though harrowing, had catapulted the company's name into the spotlight and established me as a designer who refused to bow to corruption. Our team rallied stronger than ever, pouring their energy into creating bold, groundbreaking designs. I, like my father before me, treated my employees as family. I poured everything into building an environment where their talents could truly shine. Mike became my most trusted professional partner. Throughout the process of dismantling and rebuilding what remained of Owen Corporation, we spent countless hours working side by side. His integrity, sharp intellect, and the gentle smile he wore at just the right moments began to draw me in. He was the only man who truly understood my wounds and stood beside me without asking for anything in return. "Lucy, you're one of the strongest people I know," he once said as we walked out after a late-night strategy session. No, I was terrified every step of the way. But I had something worth protecting. You didn't just protect the company. You stood for justice itself. He took my hand, and in that warmth, I felt the ice inside me finally begin to melt. It didn't take long for our partnership to evolve into something more, something lasting. 1 year later, Mike and I stood together in front of my father's grave. Fresh flowers rested at the headstone. "Dad, I did it. I protected your company. Just like you taught me to protect what matters most." I spoke to my father in my heart. The wind rustled through the trees. I imagined his voice whispering, "Well done, my girl." Standing beside me, Mike gently wrapped his arm around me. I had once thought I'd lost everything: my fiancé, my sister, my company. But what I really lost was only the illusion of love, the illusion of trust. From the darkness, I had found something real. The priceless legacy my father left me, and the people who helped me protect it. I used to believe that revenge created nothing. But maybe that was only half true. Revenge born of hatred can destroy everything. But a battle fought with pride, to protect what you love, that kind of fight can create something new, something strong. My real life began that day, the day I stood at the edge of despair and chose to rise. I looked up. Above me stretched a sky blue, endless and clear,